Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea. Welcome to a high-level game between Nightmare here in the top left on the Moon Dance versus Spirit in the bottom right, our Polish Terran player, of course, playing for Team Kaisi Gaming. Nightmare plays for Team NV, so it's a Korean versus a Pole. Very interesting to see who's going to be winning this. Nightmare has been performing okay-ish. There was a period in time where it felt like he was one of the players we really needed to be on the lookout for. I believe he was the one that initially introduced like a 2-base Dark Templar charge lot rush against Terran. One of the first times we saw the DT Blink actually come into play in professional play. I believe he won against a Terran. I can't recall who it was, obviously. It's been too long ago. And I remember thinking at the time, well, that actually looks kind of scary. This guy looks good. He has some good ideas. The mechanics are okay. Very similar to how I felt about Prince when he first came into the GSL. But it feels like both of these players have kind of hit a bit of a bit of a wall, honestly, in their improvement. They haven't been improving all that much anymore. They kind of plateaued for a bit, it feels like. So yeah, curious to see how Nightmare is going to be performing against Spirit here today. Spirit, of course, is a player that plays a little bit out of the ordinary usually. He plays standard stuff, but the way he executes it often is very different. And he has a couple of things that he is really fond of, like, for example, a mine drop. The moment the armory finishes, he'll just start mine dropping a lot, which could be great, but also carries a lot of risk because you're investing mines, factory time, as well as the medevacs into that. If it doesn't work, you'll often just kind of get A-moved on the other side of the map. He's a player that tends to play for the late game and has a very odd late game style as well. So curious to see how it's all going to pan out here on Moondance. Moondance, one of the new maps. If you haven't been watching a whole lot of StarCraft lately on these new maps, then let me just give you a quick rundown of the map. It features an, well, what is this? Like a pocket third base, I guess you could call it, or like a behind the natural third base. This is not a full third base. This is a regular gas here, so not a rich Vespene geyser, just a regular Vespene geyser. 6 mineral patches as well. And yeah, that's basically just it, honestly. This is the main feature of the map, I think, and often allows for very passive games in the first 7 to 8 minutes, but once the fourth base comes into play, we often see a lot of aggressive rotations. I mean, there's a lot of potential for blinks into the main base. There is a lot of potential for Phoenixes to do some good as well. Overall, it's a map where, yeah, it's a fun map to watch often. A very fun match to watch. Excuse me. SCV is going to. Actually, not quite sure what this guy's doing. Taking some minerals, I guess. That's it. Seems like not a very worthwhile task here. He's going to get blasted by this adept if the adept is paying attention. At the same time, there's already a Zealot and adept on the other side. So Spirit realizes first, like, hey, I don't want to be walking home together with this adept. My mama told me to never walk home with strangers. So SCV is just going to go to the other side of the map again. Maybe want to try and spot what type of tech is being researched. 4 Marines are out currently already. First Zealot is going to get taken out. This Adept, also in a little bit of hot weather, will end up dying. And I think that eventually, in the end, the CC will be built and this Adept... Ooh! I think that Adept should have died. I think there was a miss micro there, missing one of the stutter step shots. Very painful. We have Blink, we have 3 extra gateways, or 2 extra gateways, bring the total up to 3, as well as a robotics facility, but the unit count currently for Nightmare just isn't all that high. There's only a single adept remaining, while on the other side of the map we already see, well, what do we see? Well, just 5 Marines, it also isn't too hot. We have a command center being built on the 3rd base location, and a tank as well as a 2nd barrack, so this was all being played off of a single gas here for Spirit, who now wants to quickly go into that heavy eco style. We see a forge being built. Okay. Now, forge is, of course, not a bad structure generally, but seeing a forge this early in the game, before a 3rd base, is extremely rare. I think Pro definitely should be the target here. Yep, they will be. 3 workers end up going down versus 5 Marines. I also think he killed an adept. Definitely a worthwhile trade here for Spirit. Tank is out, so he's safe at home. 2nd tank is on the way, so it's going to be safe on the high ground. 3rd base isn't up yet for Nightmare, so Spirit's also going to be quite happy with that. Worker count for Nightmare isn't all that brilliant either. Overall, despite the very chaotic start and Spirit initially losing a lot of units as well, I actually think the Terran can be pretty happy with all of this. I really do believe so. I wonder if there's going to be a second tank here, or if this factory is going to lift to start building a reactor for any potential starports. No, it's going to be a third tank, so it's playing it really safe right now. And that could potentially indicate that we're going into one of these more passive games heading into a mid-game, where Terran is just happy staying on these 3 bases, one of them being a back base with less mineral patchet. But despite that, still, you know, there's a lot of minerals you can get from there. Observer's going to scout in right now, sees this barracks timing. I think you just know naturally as a Protoss player that there's something wrong here. It's like, hey, this is really late. It makes no sense. You're just going to straight away fly towards that third base location, I think. You want to know if it's actually there or not. And it's going to spot it. He sees that it's done. It's going to be a little bit frustrating as well, because Nightmare actually played kind of safe here with the 3 gateways. He wanted to get a couple of units out, had a robotics facility and even a fort before that third base. So his own eco is actually looking quite weak, while Spirit seems rather rich at the moment. Starport is going to be constructed at this point as well, as we have another tech lab. Now this is a weird call to make in my mind, unless you want to continue tank production, because otherwise you could just swap these 2 bad boys over, right? Yeah, we're gonna see combat shield. It's gonna be another tank. It almost has to be, but there's really not the gas for it either. 4 CC? Oh, wow. That seems extremely greedy. Needlessly greedy, even. Before barracks 4 and 5. I mean, this just means that any type of pressure, it gets spotted as well, basically immediately. Any type of pressure that Spirit can do here is just going to be weak. It's going to be weak pressure. And if you're a Nightmare in this case, I'd almost say double expand. Take your 4th, take your 5th at the same time. Just chrono out as many probes as you can, possibly. Harass with a prism, I'm all for that. Harass with your stalkers, but don't build a single extra unit. You need workers. You either need to go for mass workers and harassment, or you need to go for a kill move. There's no in between. You can't not be building workers right now. That this fort base is too late. He spotted this 30, 40 seconds ago already. He should have been double expanding, getting the extra gases. We don't see any extra workers being produced. This puts Nightmare in a massive all-in position, but you can't all-in into this, can you? I mean, there's going to be a Viking out, there's going to be a medic who are on 4 tanks already. Like, unless Spirit decides to move out right now, I don't understand how Nightmare is seeing this game evolve in his favor. I cannot imagine that whatsoever. He's going to be losing a lot of zealots here already. The Viking is going to town on this prism as well. These zealots are just idling near the natural base. What? Nightmare is just... He's just not controlling this whatsoever. This is a very confusing start of the mid-game for me. I don't quite understand that. Hasn't built any units during this entire period, or any probes, excuse me. Still on 60 works. I think he might have been on like 58 earlier. So he might have built 2 or 3 extra probes. I mean, this did nothing. He cleared like half a tank? That's it? That's definitely not going to be enough. This Viking is going to get repaired a little bit, which is quite useful. Zealots are going to move in as well, wanting to take out a couple of these SCVs, and only with a single tank shooting, in combination with the splash damage, it might be possible. This Prism eventually is going to fall, but there's still a lot of tanks around. Prism actually is not going to end up falling, but... Ooh, is Nightmare actually breaking this? If he breaks this... Nah, there's no way. It's just not possible. I don't think you can break this type of stuff. Not in the main base of the Terran, not unless you're like up 30 supply or so. Planetary at the 4th base, so that one's safe. Nightmare, don't even consider going in there, buddy. You don't want to do it. You don't want to be found there. Now we're stuck on 67 workers. Don't get me wrong. The position that Nightmare is in right now, it isn't awful. It isn't, oh my god, this is completely over. You'll never win a game again. But I think he could have set himself up in a position where he's up 20, 25 workers. He's going to be up 30 supply. And Spirit is just going to be sitting back at home. I just don't understand this call at all. I mean, you know you're not going to get the planetary when you have 10 zealots. It's not possible. It is simply not possible. 5 workers are being taken out by a drop on the other side as well. 6 workers being taken out. This drop is still going on. Maybe one more worker. Ooh, Medevac gets to stay alive. That's very good, actually. Here for Spirit. This has been a dramatic minute and a half here for Nightmare. He's going to lose a couple of extra workers here as well. Double stim in order to get across the map faster. Beautiful movement out of Spirit. Once again, in that mineral line. Response out of Nightmare simply too slow. He's going to lose 14 workers here. And he already didn't have that many. I mean, he was on like 64, 65 workers. Losing 15 in that case is garbage. This has been just terrible for Nightmare. It really has been. Spirit is supply blocked. He's going to need to drop a couple of these depots down. He's going to be supply blocked again, actually. So unless he wants to continuously be dropping these depots from the sky. He already has one over here as well, so that makes it 2 right now, the total. We have a big engagement once again in the front. Very aggressive blink-in. Planetary is not going to get taken out like this. These decisions are very odd to me. Like, I understood that if you want to go into the main base, if you think you can kill, that is something I can understand. But he had vision. He has full vision of this base. He knows the situation. Then I don't quite understand it. Moving in towards, this type of position, I really like. Send a couple of zealots in towards the third base as well. Take out these workers. And be a little bit too aggressive here. Man, he is very decisive, Nightmare. Oh my god, he's just going ham here. At the same time, though, this drop is doing similar damage on the other side of the map. But this was big. 22 workers going down. That was a very, very good move. I love that move. Saying, hey, I'm behind. I need to do something absolutely wild. He's going in right now. Spirit actually in a little bit of trouble. Doesn't have that many units here anymore. 1 tank on the high ground. Man, this guy is doing so much damage. Has 7 kills currently, and all of those are zealots or stalkers. He's going to get 1 more. Make that 8 kills. Still have a tank here in the far back as well. This bottom base, maybe in a little bit of trouble. Only 4 stalkers here, though. But no lift in time. Spirit potentially losing a 4th base. At the same time, Nightmare also losing his 4th base, and Spirit is base trading as well. This game, when I really believed this was going to be a boring mid game, honestly. Like, Spirit is tanking up like 5 tanks. But somehow, some way, Nightmare is finding all types of avenues where he can deal some damage. And that is really cool to see. 2 medevacts get taken out, but he didn't get the correct one. To be fair, there were 5 medevacts and only 1 of them had units in it. Marina Marauder did a very good job here. We'll be taking out this pylon and then returning back home to retire peacefully near the planetary fortress. Or so they think, because Nightmare once again is in the warpath. This CC actually did end up dying, right? I can't recall if I actually saw it. Yeah, it did end up dying. Then we saw the recall here of the main army, of course. Medevacts go back home. It's 3 base versus 3 base, 12 minutes into the game. This game has been absolutely bonkers so far. I don't want to call it a stupid game because it's been really fun, but some suboptimal decisions into some brilliant calls out of Nightmare, honestly. Some really cool movement there. The little rotations, the way he did those engagements, so aggressive. Now going in for that base trade as well. Uh-oh. Spirit, a little bit of trouble here. 3 ghosts are going to get caught, will get taken out, but all of them do get to use their EMP. This super depot is going to get taken out. There's another super depot there. This tank will get blinked upon. Once again, Zealots moving in towards that bottom side, immediately taking out the base. Zealots are going to die, but the Blink Stalkers, of course, can escape with a cheeky blink. Let's use the blink right now, and Spirit is already anticipating this. Look at this movement. Beautiful stuff here out of Spirit. There's no recall available, obviously. That means that every single Stalker is going to end up dying. These Zealots will take out the command center. I don't think there was a cancel there. And these Stalkers will also die. Man, this game is really, really sick. What an action-packed Terran versus Protoss here. After an opener that screamed, I want to have a boring game. It is really rare to have an opener this boring and then have a mid-game that is this dynamic and back and forth. Spirit's going to be moving out, and I like this call a lot. I mean, he has, 3 EMPs available. There's a couple of tanks as well. Medevac count is rather low, and that is really the only thing that he is lacking. At the same time, we saw a medevac, well, we didn't see it, but I saw it happen on the minimap. A medevac got taken out here by the Stalker, so good movement out of these Stalkers by Nightmare. Single Colossi gets sniped, EMP gets used on those sentries, tanks in the far back, dealing a lot of damage, and I think this base might just end up dying here. Ooh, these units are low. This is the problem. This is a huge issue. Can't stim one more time here. And now the question is, how are you going to get rid of your tanks? You know, how are you going to move your tanks back home? That's always a tricky question. I think Spirit is aware of a bunch of units moving towards the bottom side. At the same time, Zealot run by here in towards the natural base. Will take out 6 workers. And looking to kill this depot as well. Oh boy, what a game. Dark Shrine on the way for Nightmare. That's a move I obviously like. Nightmare really is one good fight away from kind of being back into it. His income sucks, but I mean, that's kind of okay. 2 of these tanks are going to get taken out. We get a drop in towards the main base. Recall is available, so I think we're going to see that blasted right now. Do we get a recall? No recall. Okay, well, that's a lot of probes. They're going to be taken out. Good EMP here on the Nexus. As I'm going through my 5th phase of puberty. Nexus is going to get taken out, and it will set Nightmare back to a single mining base currently, and that single mining base is mining off of 4 patches. That means that it's only half a mining base. We have some long distance mining as well. Spirit right now in extremely comfortable position, is once again supply block because he lost a couple of depots, I bet, against those zealots that were there. Oh, it feels like we've been having action consistently since like the 7-minute mark or so. I had not expected that. Disruptors are now out as well, or coming out at this point. We have one out already. I thought we had a Dark Shrine, but it must have gotten killed in the drop. No, it's alive. The Dark Shrine is alive. There's a turret here, however. There's a turret here as well, so DT is not going to be super viable. Do I like the call of Liberators? Yeah, why not? Bunkering up if you're out mining your opponent by 400, 500, 600 minerals a minute. Generally a good call. Just make sure that your units are in the correct positions. Here Nightmare's going to start moving in. Wants to take out that sensor tower, is not quite going to get it yet. Liberators move towards the planetary position. 2 tanks are here in the far back. This looks like a good setup, honestly. If I'm a Provos player, I don't want to tech into this, I think. I'm probably looking at this planetary. Oh my god. I love this move so much. Look at this. Oh, oh, poof. Huge hits there. Now we'll get a recall. One of them will die. Second one also dies. So both of them die for this. I guess in the end of the day, that's not really worth it then if both of them die. We have a fort base on the way though. Spirit is going to be scouting that. I think there's an issue here when it comes to information. There's an information issue for Spirit. Nothing else. It's just purely information. And the issue is that Spirit doesn't know what the worker count is. If Spirit knew what the worker count was, he would not be making a move out right now. He'd just be sitting back saying, okay, I can take my time. I can max out. I can get my +2 armor. I can get my +3 attack. And then I can attack you while I'm still up 70, 80 supply. However, Spirit sees a fort base going down. And that's kind of scary for Spirit. Because Spirit doesn't know if there's 70 workers, or 40, or 35, or 29. He just doesn't know. He sees a fully saturated base here, and it's got to scare him a little bit. He's like, okay, that's not cool. Battery's going to be unpowered? No. Stays up. Do we have a super battery? Interesting blink. Doesn't quite work out. Meanwhile, the vision out of Nightmare is fabulous. Look at that. Sees absolutely everything. All the attack pads. Now have 2 of these in the dead space. Almost, actually, no, it is worth it building a Stargate for this. Just building a single Phoenix. So you get rid of this. Like, this one just dies instantly. There's a lot of supply in here. Disrupt shot's gonna hit. Takes out only a single ghost, but these ghosts will also end up going down against the Colossi. We still have a disruptor shot available. No, we do not. We do have a super battery available soon. Medevac count is only at 4 here. Having trouble keeping up with the healing. Oh, no target fire, Mr. Stalker. There we go. We'll take out that one medevac. It's a bunch of Marines, but they're all so low as well. And I actually think that this might have been a mistake out of Spirit, trying to go at the same time. Zealots are popping in here. And I mean, there's nothing in the main base currently. Income actually favoring Nightmare at the moment. The main reason for that is because, well, this back base wasn't mining, or I'm not quite sure what it was doing. Wouldn't mind a main orbital command flying over to this side right now. I mean, Spirit just has way more workers. Feels like it would be worth it. Good rotation out of Spirit, takes out this base as well. And at the same time, I love these non-medevac armies. Just basically using them as like a run-by, like a throwaway army. So he starts stimming in. Ooh. I guess this got spotted somehow, as Nightmare did go for a warp in here. These units are going to get taken out, or at least pushed back. I love this little... This type of move is what makes the difference between a good and a great player. It's like, okay, I'm running away. I still want to know whether there's a 5th base on that right side or not. This is huge information, because it informs the main army where to go next. It's like, hey, is there a hurry? Am I in a hurry? That's basically the main question that Spirit can keep asking himself. The answer here is no. He's still going to go for an attack. It's a little bit surprising. There's not that much bio at home currently. These tanks are not in a great position to hold the planetary either. So you're really kind of hoping for this army to never show up. And it is going to show up right now. I don't think a recall is available. No, it is available, but I don't think you can get it off in time. Spirit is going to take out that Nexus. Planetary, I think, is going to fall, but with only 3 of these patches remaining, I don't think it's too big of a deal. Here comes the first Disruptor shot, here comes the second Disruptor shot, eventually, there we go. It's going to connect actually with a decent chunk of that army. Spirit needs to move back eventually. There are still 3 tanks here, but I don't think Nightmare's gonna attack into it. I don't think he should, perhaps. Still has a base on the left side, but only 10 workers remaining. Where are they? All mining in the natural. This base still mining as well. The problem is that every single one of these bases can just float, yeah, and fly to another location. So right now Spirit's gonna move towards the far left side. It's a risky move, but if it pays off, it pays off, you know? And Spirit already is up in everything. Would not mind if he just sets up the tank here on the high ground. Yeah, good call. Actually a good call. Disruptor's going to move in, take out that tank though. There's one more Disruptor shot available. As we see this army trying to move out. Nightmare is well aware of this though. And look at this. This is a big bait. Oh, I should have waited half a second extra. If he would have just waited for 1 more second, that would have been huge. That would have been so big. Now have a blink towards this right side. These guys can barely manage to escape. 1 medevac goes down. At the same time, we have a single marine here on the left side. He's going to dodge that Disruptor shot. Actually force the Disruptor shot to hit a pylon here. Another probe is going to get taken out as well. And I think this is going to be the last march that Nightmare will ever do, as he just doesn't have the income and does not have the potential for income. Either big EMP is hitting a big chunk of this army. Single Disruptor is still around. There's actually 3 Disruptors around. Okay, 2 in this army, 1 at home. Of course, we saw that 1 at home. Spirit should just be defending at this point, but he can also kill. I think his army is big enough at this point that it doesn't really matter what he does. EMP is going to hit Disruptor. Oh my god, great target fire there out of Spirit. Final Disruptor also gets targeted out, and this is game. This is absolutely game. 1 more Purification Nova is going to go off. Stim's back. 3 medevacs are here. GG gets called. Spirit wins this game. What a sick back and forth Terran versus Protoss. This was a treat to watch. I did not like the initial response out of Nightmare, but I really did like the rest of the game out of him. And Spirit, just this defensive monster staying alive the entire time. Great stuff, great stuff. Alright, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much, and bye.